Good morning, listeners and viewers, and the incredibly super smart Mr. Curry. What's happened to you?
Well, I just thought as a starting point, because you invited me on early on. Morning, Jalf.
Good morning.
I just thought, um, this apparently this show is called Show Business,
It
right?
is.
Now, an unusual event, I can only see your head at the moment, but I never ever see you without a shirt and tie or suit on, right? So I just wondered, yes, you can duck down there. So I just thought, because we've got a new prime minister who likes to run around in a t-shirt, I just wondered straight away your impressions of first impressions in a business world. So I thought I'll just dress like you.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
That's well done. Thank you for dressing up.
It starts as a
I,
conversation, though, doesn't it?
it always starts as a conversation. Anyway, you're listening to Ammar
And Jalf.
And
and
Alan,
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, we come live and loud.
And each week we'll try and bring you some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Kevin's
well,
Kevin's
there's a straight one, Jeff. How about dressing for the occasion?
So Kevin's
Well,
actually messaging
yeah,
me. Kevin's messaging me, telling me my face is cropped off.
that's
Yeah,
because that's
I
because
seem to be the only one I can see fully.
you need to just there you go. You
Oh,
need
he's
to
hiding now
you
because he
just
hasn't got a
need to
shirt and
press
tie on, is
boost
he?
on that.
I have, I
Boost on
have.
the chair one more time, and mine will get there.
No, I don't want to boost. What? I've got a shirt on.
There you go. There
Look,
you
I've got a shirt on. There you go.
No, you see, the one
Yeah.
day I turn up in a shirt and tie, you're doing the old casual bit.
Well, he's looking very radiant, though, isn't he? Very radiant.
That's a good word, radiant. I thought
Radiant.
unshaven was a better word, but I'm comfortable with that.
Oh, good.
That's
Look, how do I know
definitely
with
radiant.
friends? It's
And I'll
always
tell you
nice
what,
to have people on the
do,
show who compliment you so much.
but do you know the worst of this is, and I've never grown a beard in my life, and the only time I ever did do one for that sort of Movember or what it was, I got a shock because it turned out grey. I should have done it when I was a lot younger, but just look at yourself. Maybe I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Maybe a bit dye might help.
No, I tried it. It didn't look right.
No,
And
Right? You've
you
gone
despite
for
got
the
to be
mature
authentic,
look.
man. You got to be authentic. I think you got to put everything in context because if you're lucky enough to like Ammar's got a like head full of hair, which is like it's like a big deal, because some people are not fortunate enough to have that. So that's number one on the tick list, and then you're gonna you know the what do they call the silver? It's not white, is it? It's silver, isn't it?
Well, some people describe it as a silver fox.
Yeah.
My,
Well,
gra-
it's
my
not white.
grandson, there's
It's
a
not.
little there's a little story here. My grandson, who's obviously a lot older now, when you've met him, when he was younger, he had the Wii box where you could do an avatar, and he said to his granddad, "I can do an avatar for you." He says, "What colour's your hair?" And I said, "Brown." And he said, "No, what colour's your hair? White or grey?" And that's when you know you're maturing.
Yeah, well, they need to change them boxes because everything is about boxes these days. They need to have silver on that box, so at least give you that option of that answer.
Actually, great point, that isn't it? Silver, because we would prefer to be called silver than grey or white.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
black and
Anyway,
white.
so back to my original perspective, show business. Do first impressions count when you're doing business?
I think from my perspective, if you have a look at if you compare PCs to Mac, remember those ads back in the day? The PC people would look a bit like you, and the Mac people would look a bit like me.
I was
Because
a PC person,
we're a
Jack.
bit
You're right.
casual and we can still do business casually. It's interesting evolution, isn't it? Because the traditionalist definitely when Amar's dressed up every day in a suit, you have to take your hat off to that because it's actually for me it's a special takes a special effort to want to maintain that look and that feel and that style and that purpose of being in business and looking the part. And I think I really take my hat off to that. But then for me, I always find that difficult because uh, I guess I guess it's very real special effort that needs to be made, and you need purpose to make it.
I
And
think it's a
I,
great.
I've gone down the casual, a bit more of the casual route myself.
I think it's a great point you made there because you used the word traditionalist.
Yes.
Now, as we mature, as the people behind us come along, do we lose some of that traditionalist in business, or do we just accept? I'm not saying lowering standards because there's a traditional aspect there, but I think you're absolutely right that Ammar makes the effort every day to be the absolute professional entrepreneur that looks the part, and that's me being traditional.
Hmm.
That's incredibly kind of you to say all of that. And it is interesting how many people we now come across, and I say we, I, who purposefully dress down or dress casual. And and what's interesting is a number of them are probably what you would describe as professionals, where they were in the finance industry or the legal industry, and especially those that are slightly more mature, let's say, and they've always worn suits, and now all of a sudden they're like they're almost being forced or have been forced to not, and how uncomfortable they look is one part. And the other, I'll never ever forget this because it actually really, really hurt. I was deeply offended when I delivered a workshop, and at the end of every workshop, you ask for feedback. So what did you enjoy? What was a win? What would you have done differently? Are the three questions that we always ask. And someone had put at the what you would have done differently is lose the tie. Um, and I really took offense at that. I never went back to the person. I probably should, because it's like it's something that scarred me. But I felt it's incredibly personal. I don't tell people how to dress, um, and how I dress is in a particular way, and I enjoy wearing a suit and a three-piece suit, and people are like, oh my gosh, I mean, there's even the question of heat, right? Sort of best of British or mad British dogs in this desert,
Dangerous.
type of thing. And even when I was in Saudi, I constantly and consistently wore a suit with a tie. And even when I was walking around literally in the desert, I was wearing a suit and a tie, and I didn't feel incredibly uncomfortable about wearing a suit and a shirt and a tie. I just find it normal and natural. Um, and you mentioned the word entrepreneurs. It is World Entrepreneur Day today, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. And it's brilliant to have our super step in, sort of fall guy, Mr. Allan Curry, even dress up for the occasion so that
Yeah.
I can teleport out of here. I've been doing a lot of business internationally this week, both personal and professional, obviously. But for most famous entrepreneur, Alan, who?
Ooh, hard one for an entrepreneur because it's not my background. I can listen to stories of who's the guy who runs Virgin.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, I think probably some of the stuff he's done. Um, dare I say, and this could be controversial, Rupert Murdoch, right?
Yeah.
In the context of the world he's brought up and lived in, whatever his politics are, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have to get to a certain level. And here's even a more controversial statement, right? What about Donald Trump?
Oh, I
Yeah.
think they're all um, um, sound entrepreneurs. The definition, sadly, of success seems to be influenced by popularity. As in, if someone's popular rather than controversial at times, and you know, the most successful entrepreneurs actually are a little outspoken. They're comfortable in their own skin and they're comfortable to actually say, I agree with this or I don't agree with that. I mean, they've been dramatized. So Donald Trump, The Apprentice, and then if you look at Alan Sugar, The Apprentice, would you say they're two in the same? Probably not, really. Donald Trump and Alan Sugar.
I'm
Well,
not sure, but I think what I would say about entrepreneurship and what you've highlighted there, entrepreneurship in my background, and I'm not the same as yourself and Jaff, but I would say interpersonal skills fall into entrepreneurship.
Hmm. Yeah,
The people who seem to succeed can also converse on all levels.
yeah, yeah. I'll just, Jeff, you were going to say?
no, I was gonna say, obviously, well, Alan Sugar and Donald Trump, in essence, they're very similar, aren't they? Obviously, they got totally different personalities, but in terms of being fantastic businessmen, I mean, I've heard about Alan Sugar's ability to any situation to come up with a right business answer because he's that intelligent across so many different mediums when it comes to business. I've met people in that were on the is it the what's it called the program that he had out
The apprentice.
the Apprentice, and I know that I met a couple of people that were on there and said that when it comes to business, he's always right. He's always got the right answers.
There's a danger in always being right, mind.
Yeah, there is a danger in always being right because actually you end up being wrong, don't you? Is
Well, do you know, if we move that around to business or management, I've always said you should have a quiver full of arrows, and one
yeah,
of them says kill, right? Because you're going to get involved with individuals who either take a land of you or you need to stand up to. And I think entrepreneurs know how to use that arrow. It may not be very visible, it may not be very publicized, but I do think the people I've met who are entrepreneurs know how to say, I've had enough and you're off.
yeah. And it is, but I suppose what would you describe? What are the key traits of an entrepreneur? Jeff's an incredibly successful entrepreneur. So, Jeff, what are the key skills or traits? What makes a successful entrepreneur?
I think one of the key things is we always have to be you have to be surrounded by brilliant people. They have to give you their analysis, their information on a particular project, and you have to have the ability to be able to absorb that information and make that instinctive decision. So I think you need the correct instincts, and the instincts has to lead you into the right path. So even if 10 people are telling you, oh, I see this, and this, but your instinct should be beyond theirs if you're going to lead them and make that instinctive decision where does that instinct come from? That's the key
Yeah.
point, I think.
I think there's a slight difference there because obviously, I obviously know your background, mine's public sector, right? So it didn't matter whenever I tried to have people tell me what to do, ultimately, and I agree what you say about instinct, it didn't matter how much I had a discussion, they eventually come around to say, well, it's your decision because you're the boss. And I don't think you can ever get away from the fact that sometimes not necessarily our little group, but sometimes I watch people who could never be wrong because they're the boss and don't listen. And when you're using the word instinct, never forget you're the boss. So people will give you advice, but they'll always look for you to make the final decision.
Mm.
I think it's hard. I think it's like I mean we're verging into the realms of leadership, aren't we? And the
Business,
yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I just my point being is the critical thing with leadership is the ability to sort of take control and be autonomous or almost autocratic when you're in a war-like situation. So when things are like sort of hard and it's challenging times, people just need someone to make a decision. Now, at the end of the day, no one makes an intentional wrong decision. And I think in other scenarios or times when you're not at war or when you're not firefighting, then absolutely enabling, empowering, and encouraging people to do the best they can, and the ability to flit through that. My MBA tutor, I'll never ever forget. He had a brilliant description between managers and leaders, right? And his description of the difference, and you could potentially say it's not just managers, it's probably also members of, well, it, no, I think it is managers. It wouldn't just be members of staff. Um, the um, the fact that managers do the thing right. So whatever the thing is, they do it right. And leaders do the right thing.
It's a great description that because in a previous life, when we asked that question on interviewees, what's the difference between a manager and a leader? Some people got confused with it. I like your description because I would suggest leaders are probably better entrepreneurs than managers. And that's
Mm.
just me because, like Sir Jaff, and obviously, Jaff, we know, I've watched you over the years with the way you've built the business and all the rest of it. It needs a little bit of initiative and leadership. If you just want to manage everything, I suspect, and it's my own opinion, that you wouldn't be where you are today by just managing.
Yeah, I, I think I was a really good manager at one point. Um, I don't think I am. I don't think um, you can be a good manager and a good leader. I think that they take different skills and traits. That's not to say I can't manage. I just feel as if personally I'm better at leading than I am at managing.
No, but I think there's a mix of skills there. As opposed to saying I'm a manager or I'm saying I'm a leader, if you understand both aspects of development, you pick the best from both attributes.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I get that. I suppose I enjoy leading more than I do managing, if I'm
But
just
you know, the
being
other
completely
side of
honest.
that is, and I was always taught this myself, to be a leader, you've got to have followers. So if you lead, you've got to have followers who want to take you into the trenches or over the top, like Blackadder, in a certain way. So if you're a total manager, you might not always have followers, but to be a leader, people need to sort of sign up to what your vision is, and that's where leadership comes in.
Well, I've probably got about 100,000 followers across my social platforms, but that doesn't necessarily.
But you're not going to take them over the trenches, are they?
Well,
But
I
just
don't know. They might come out the trenches. I don't know. As in that's the future. Yeah.
well,
I'll,
actually,
I'll,
here's a little anecdote
I,
because my uncle, who was he's not with us now, but very a man of the past, came
Mm.
home, wife, meal on the table, five children. One of his eldest children got married, had five kids, and was changing nappies and ironing, which he never even thought men could do. And he always said, if we have another war, we don't stand a chance. And maybe we're in that context at the moment. So just as well, you've got 100,000 followers who can help us out.
Absolutely. I think so. Well, let's have a poll. Jeff was going to come in and say that he's got 100 million.
oh no, I was going to say I'll follow you. I'll follow you into the trenches. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you very much. And I'd follow you as well. I'd follow Alan, I think.
Well,
Although
I'll
I think
follow
he
you
might be a
both, but
bit
I've got a
slow.
bad leg at the moment, so I
I
might be
was going to
last.
say I don't think I'd follow Alan. Like I think I'd be ahead of him. I'd be
Yeah,
running
well,
past him.
I've got a bad leg. Physicality creeps in when you mature.
Yeah, well, you compensate that with wearing a shirt and a tie. But yeah, yeah, what goes around comes around, I think, Mr. Curry.
Yeah,
Anyway, I'm sure
I'm
Kevin,
fascinated. Today I've got a shirt and tie and you haven't.
I think that's brilliant. I'm ever so grateful. I am. I'm a slightly embarrassed. No, possibly not. I
No,
don't
you
do
wouldn't
that.
be.
I don't do that. But but yes, I'm very impressed. So thank you for doing that. It actually means a lot. In fact, if I had my way, and maybe I do, I would go back to uniformity. I would go back to like business being business, where people actually got dressed up to do business and then dressed down.
Oh,
I think I've mentioned this previously. People walk past me, don't recognize me on a weekend because I'm dressed a little casual, is what it is, and
Thing is,
it actually
Ammar,
makes me smile.
you might think it's a little casual, but on the eye, it's very casual. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? 'Cause
are we in the dress sense now?
Hmm?
Are we in the dress sense now?
No, no, it's not. It's not into dress sense. It's just the when you when you dress in a suit on a constant basis, and that's the perception of a individual, and then all of a sudden they're dressed very casually. It does actually look so different.
You take a second glance and say, "Who was that?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
Ammar?"
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it is World Entrepreneur Day. What does that mean? Going back to Jalf, best entrepreneur in the world ever.
Oof. I don't know, man. I can't really put a pinpoint anyone, but I can pinpoint this though. Every entrepreneur that I've spoke to, they have told about their failures.
Hmm.
I think every entrepreneur has got a story to tell on how they failed and how they were in a hole and how that's where they learned and that's where they got better and that's where they sharpened and that's when they became a found themselves and got out and showed that entrepreneurial spirit. So I think if anyone is has entrepreneurial traits, most likely you're going to face difficulties, and it's how you deal with those difficulties and come out, with those difficulties a better entrepreneur. I think that's probably something that is standard across the medium or across the characteristics of being an entrepreneur.
I think that's a great point, Jeff, because again, I'm public sector. So when I used to speak to some of the people who worked for me otherwise, the ones who had never ever made a mistake or had never had done anything wrong, uh, they forgot how to learn.
Hmm.
What do you think about this slideshow? That's a nice picture of Mr. Curry, isn't it?
Where?
I didn't realize I had a brother who could dress up.
Look at that. Super duper smart. So this is news, views, and business clues. Actually, I'm sure the catchphrase was news, views, and one or two business clues. But anyway, it's all good. It looks your weekly inside track on the business world, only on Spice FM.
Nice.
Headlines. Here's some headlines. Northeast has 120 million of active business funding available right now, and most SMEs don't know it exists. Sunderland mortgage advisory firm grows from a spare bedroom to a fully fledged office. That's massive news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it is. Newcastle and Gateshead attract significant inward investment and business growth, cementing twin city status as the Northeast commercial heartland. Interesting. So, what's keeping business owners awake at night? 29% of trading businesses say economic uncertainty is affecting turnover. For firms with 10 plus employees, 35% say labour costs are the biggest challenge. Is caution protecting businesses or holding back growth? What do you think about that?
They all make sense somehow. Everyone can feel the economic uncertainty. You can feel the overall cost increases. Those are the things that are making trading so challenging. I think, and you know, for us in hospitality, we're looking forward, and we hope that the busy season that's usually mid-September onwards, we hope that nothing impacts that because we've been really looking forward to that season because the summer with how hot it's been, that's played mayhem for um, leisure, hospitality, and retail, especially physical shops such as the city centre shops. I know that they've all struggled.
It has. It's well, there's been it's a mixed story because if you really think about it, um, certain goods and commodities have actually um, increased. So supermarkets have seen a rise in barbecue related, in drinks. Hospitality has obviously seen the downside of that, but retail and in particular food shop has increased because more people were just sort of buying things and sort of cooking at home and in the gardens and barbecues. Air conditioning and cooling units and fans have sort of exponentially grown. And one of the things that I would encourage people to do is buy lots of umbrellas. It's going to be an incredibly wet winter and autumn, allegedly. So it's about looking ahead. It almost feels that as an entrepreneur, you need to have a bit of a crystal ball. I've said this, and Jeff, you've made that point. Entrepreneurs talk about failure, but the only time that they really do talk about failure is when they've stopped failing and they're comfortable in sharing that story about all right, this is all of the bumps I went over and this is all of the things that didn't work, but actually here's what now works. Um so and 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 there's also an element of crystal ball. So the one thing, and if I think about the the various times that I've sort of, I wouldn't say I failed, I hate that term, I've learned. Because I don't set out ever to fail. I hate the idea of that. And I don't agree with the idea that it's okay to fail. Because that mindset for me sort of just instills a mindset of, oh, well, actually, even if I don't really try hard, the most successful outcomes have come through sort of blood, sweat, and grit. It's come from sort of, nervousness. It's come from, oh my God, is this really going to work or not? And you keep plowing on and ahead. But your gut is for me that crystal ball. Your gut instinct, I think, as an entrepreneur, is something that's incredibly unique.
Hmm.
I think terminology is important there because you use the word failure, and I learned over the years you don't use the word failure. What you basically say is, on this occasion, I was unsuccessful.
Yeah. Oh, I learned.
Well,
It
the
was
two things go together, don't they?
yeah, they do, they do.
You learn
Yeah,
from mistakes, or you learn from unsuccessful ventures, and then
mm.
you don't make the same mistake again, hopefully.
Well, hopefully. I feel as if there have been occasions where I possibly have, and I think that's something to do with also personality. Yeah, I'm a very open sort of individual who just likes developing relationships. I like happy ever after endings, and always I'm the forever optimist. So
I don't like to.
naively.
I obviously don't want to speak for Jack, but we've never noticed that in you.
Have you not? All right,
No.
that's good. That's really helpful. Um, and yeah, I jump into everything with the yes, it's the best thing ever. It's going to be amazing, or it's going to be amazing, or it's going to be. And yes, Mr. Curry, you've never noticed any of that ever.
No, because we go back to the previous conversation. I suspect, or actually know, that's about leadership.
Yeah. And look, here's some entrepreneurs: uh, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, Jamsetji Tata, Madam C.J. Walker, Walt Disney, Suchiro Honda, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey,
That's an interesting one, the last one.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bear in mind, Meghan Harry's on the way back.
I think I actually, without getting into politics or anyway, we always do. I quite like Harry. I've always I like all of the royals, and I feel as if there's an element of authenticity in Harry, as well. And I like the idea of them coming. And actually, I'm going to invite them to the ABC Awards. I'm going to say, come, I'd like you there. What are you laughing at?
Well, that would be interesting if they say yes.
Yeah, well, we might give her a special award.
Yeah. What about just a jar of jam,
What?
locally produced?
All right. Robert.
Robertson's, but never mind. That
Uh,
would be a bit more controversial, wouldn't it?
Incredibly. I was just trying to find the untenuous
We're
link
moving into
or
different
not.
territory here, but invite Meghan Markle and give her a jar of Robertson's jam. That's going to get the front page of the Times and the Guardian, isn't it?
I don't know. Daily Mail, maybe. I I I don't know.
No,
Anyway,
it'll be page 3 in the Daily Mail.
I've never read the Daily Mail. Do you? Is that the page three was an interesting position, wasn't it?
Well, you see, you're going back to your youth now, aren't you?
No, it's funny how times have changed, though. As an entrepreneur, as in, no, but actually, if you look at the slightly more controversial entrepreneurs, so you mentioned Robert Murdoch, or what was he called? The was it like he had the bunnies? What was he called?
You
Hugh
have the,
Hefner.
oh yes, the bunnies. I mean,
Yeah.
it predates me. You're obviously a bit older than myself, but I think I've read about it.
Yeah, I don't know what are you talking about. Jeff knows all about
Well,
it. Jeff,
no,
what are you talking about?
Robert, the Playboy guy, right? He created Playboy, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jaff, we've just deflected to you,
Well,
right?
no,
You've just picked it up.
no, well, everyone should know about that. I mean, it's just, it's just standard knowledge amongst people of a particular age. I mean, he was massive in the entertainment world, wasn't he?
Yeah, but when Ammar's talking about bunnies, I just assumed he meant rabbits.
No, he was. Well, what did you think? Hugh Hefner? I don't know. As in, Jeff was
It
an
appears
avid
only Jaff
follower.
knows what we're talking about, or you're talking about.
I'm not talking about anything. It was you.
I'm on about
Anyway,
rabbits, and you brought
yeah,
bunnies up.
yeah. No, but as in, one of the things historically advertising and entrepreneurship, it was also about things like um, sex sells. There was a huge industry. There was also these telephone lines. Can you remember the telephone lines that were introduced at one point? We used to get complaints. So I was at United Artists, then Telewest, and I was running the call center, and we'd get complaints from people ringing up about how they'd been charged, like sort of, I don't know, £5 a minute or £10 a minute, even in certain circumstances, £20 a minute for these lines. And they'd go, I didn't know what it was. And they'd been ringing them for like 20, 30 minutes at a time. Well, maybe 2 minutes at a time or whatever it was. Um, and it was just, I mean, it's interesting that there is this alt world out there, isn't there? Um, and then these magazines that existed on the top shelf
I'm
as
only five
well.
foot eight.
How much?
I'm only 5'8". I couldn't reach.
All right, sorry, I thought you were telling us how much they cost. Um, uh, anyway, anyway, the,
Yeah,
I was.
concentrate.
Yeah, no, it's just entrepreneurship. That was all. We're just talking about entrepreneurship and how the definition. So some people that would be abhorrent, wouldn't it? Raymond Review Bar. I mean, the first time I think the first time I went to Soho was when I was working for the British Council in in Spring Gardens, just off Trafalgar Square, as in the public service. And I was just fascinated by this place that it existed, as in there was this place called Soho in London, because we didn't have anything like that in Newcastle, did we? Or
Yes.
did we, Alan, in your
Yeah.
policing days?
Yeah. We had Westgate Hill, which had one or two shops. And obviously we had the Pink Triangle down that sort of locality as well. And
Yeah, right.
and in the nicest possible way, we got rid of the vice situation or prostitution in Newcastle because we disbanded the vice squad. So if you don't look for it, you don't have a problem.
Really, that's interesting. Yeah.
I suspect
Anyway,
that, sorry, different
I
world.
don't know,
I tell
it's
you,
just,
here's a question, right?
yeah,
Just when you say it's Entrepreneurs Day, and I've had
yeah,
this conversation in different things,
yeah.
Anti-Shoplifting Day, Women's Day, something else day. Who decides it's Entrepreneurs Day?
Me?
Oh, that's fair enough. I'm happy with that.
Um,
Who
yeah.
decides? And what's the criteria to decide? We get all these different days, and I keep
I think we
saying,
should have
where did
I
that come
think we
from?
should have an Allan Curry Day. When do you think that should be?
Whenever Pat says it's appropriate, and for those who don't know, Pat's my wife, and obviously I just do what I'm told.
So we're never going to have an Allan Curry Day.
Oh no, we could. It'll be something to do with handbags.
Okay, that's good. Dancing around them, or
Whatever you want on Allan Curry Day. Nothing,
okay.
nothing's out
So
of
so
bounds within
actually,
reason.
if we were having a day, what day would we have? Jaff, if you could pick any day to be the Jaff Ali Day, what day would it be, and what
And
would you
why?
celebrate? What would you celebrate?
Oof. Oh God. What day would it be? It would probably be like the first of the first. And I think if there's anything to celebrate, it's to celebrate making a difference to others. I think that's like the biggest thing that anyone in a position to do anything should or can do.
What
And
would
the
the title?
first,
We'll have to have an offline conversation about like anyway. Yeah, I didn't realize we
We
were
need a title
doing
for that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
We
I
need
think the sentiments are great. I just
uh,
think the title needs to be appropriate.
like what? Well,
No, I don't
Alan,
know.
what
That's
day
why I
would
asked
you
that.
have if you could
Sorry?
have a day? What day would it be if you could have a day?
Well, it doesn't need to be. Are you talking a day as in like Monday to Sunday, or are you just saying a day in the calendar?
Well, a day and a date. It doesn't have to be Monday to Sunday, but it could be a date. I think a date. So it would be the same date.
But I think if you're planning something like that, it would be appropriate to do it where it doesn't conflict with any other scenarios that's going on. Then you need a process to understand what you're trying to achieve, and then you need to publicize it.
Yeah, but what date would it be? Rather than getting all technical.
Well, I can't do it at the moment. At this moment in time, it could be April the
oh,
1st.
April the 1st.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a really good date.
oh, Valentine's Day.
Oh, Jalf, it
There
cost me
you
a
go.
fortune on Valentine's Day.
Oh, oh,
I keep saying to my wife, we've been married 40 years and I've still got to get something for Valentine's Day. And it's even worse. She wants something for Mother's Day, and I keep saying, you're not me man. But it still costs me a fortune.
Brilliant.
We've
Yeah,
now
no,
got, I haven't mentioned this to Toohies, and I'll just on this. We've now got an overspill handbag shelf in the back bedroom of handbags that have been bought, not used yet. How does that happen? You both know Pat, right? So how does that happen?
actually, I don't think I see Pat with a handbag.
You will. I can assure you. We have to throw them out to get new ones in.
Yeah, no, but when you come to when you come to things, do I see Pat with a
Oh
handbag?
yeah. Oh, she's got special handbags for your dues.
Uh, um. Anyway, coming back to what else is going on in the world. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know who sets World Entrepreneurs Day or World Anti whatever. Um, We used to have aunties coming around all the time. Is what we did. But anyway, uh, well, do you think you made a really interesting and compelling point earlier, which feeds into a little bit about ABC's approach, Alan. And just to pick it out, you disbanded the vice squad, and that took the problem away,
Yeah.
right? So, so there seems to be so many anti-whatever campaigns, anti this, anti that, anti this, anti, whatever it is on all sides, anti-immigration, anti-racism, anti. And I sometimes feel by creating a campaign which is anti, naturally alienates
No, I
people.
think you're right. I mean, I don't doubt in the environment we or the location we live in, there's still a vice, prostitution problem, drug problem. But if you don't go looking for it, you don't find it, and as a consequence, it doesn't happen. So if you're saying we're all anti-immigration, or we are pro-immigration, because you publicise those particular ways of operating, then you get people going on different sides of the argument.
Yeah, just, as in, and one thing that we through ABC and obviously as, founders, supporters, key stakeholders, partners in everything that we've done, we've purposefully, decided to maintain a more positive and inclusive approach so that we don't alienate people as a consequence of sort of, yes, we know racism exists, but actually what leads to racism is a lack of understanding, a lack of appreciation, a lack of community cohesion. So bringing people together, eating curry, celebrating people, sort of having awards, raising the profile, delivering programs. Both of you were involved in the programs that we delivered at the Beacon. They were interesting, weren't they?
Yeah, but I think what you've described there, and we just turn it back about 20 minutes, leadership and management, and an objective and a way of achieving that objective. And over the years, I learned about it's not so much about outputs, it's about outcomes. And one of the things ABC's done over the years we've all been together promoting and being involved, and some of the things we've done, for better or for worse, is we've focused on outcomes, not outputs.
Yeah, we have. We have. And you're right, it has been around relationships, leaderships, um, as well. Uh, so coming back to leaders and leaderships, regionally, we've got a number of, so we've got Sir Graham Wiley, we've got John Hayes and Dame Irene Hayes, Dame Margaret Barber, Sir Peter Vardy, Sir John Hall, Helen McCardle, Sarah Davies, Nigel Mills, Jaff Ali, Lee Hartley,
Jalf,
Ammar Mirza as
Jalf,
as
when you
well.
get your honours, are you going to
I
invite me
don't
to the
deserve
House
to
of
be
the
on there,
Parliament?
man.
Sorry?
I don't deserve to be on there. There's a
Of
lot.
course you do.
There's a lot more.
Kevin's put you on there, so you
I'm
do.
supposed to have a laugh. That's all.
What? Don't be so
But I
silly.
don't. I don't mind.
That's been promoted everywhere. That's been
Yeah.
promoted everywhere.
It's only a matter of time. And obviously, when Ammar got his CV, we had a great time. So I'm looking forward to when we go down to Parliament for your honour.
I don't
And
think.
yours, Alan?
I think I'm not just on the list there. I know we've only got quite a few minutes left. Sir John Hall, interestingly, has been in the media this week because Newcastle have officially announced that they've bought Sir John Hall's site in
Yeah.
Woolverton to now turn that into an UFC new training ground. Interestingly, though, Ammar, at the last ABC event when Sir John was there, it was good 2-3 months ago, and he did tell us then that the deal has been in place for quite a while. So I'm just
It
wondering,
has.
and wondering why the club have decided to announce it now. Maybe there was some other teething little issues that they needed to get a go ahead on. But it was interesting that they featured Sir John and the day that he actually bought that site, which was a good 25 years ago. So interesting,
at least,
isn't it, Alan? So,
yeah.
why? I mean, my question to the club would be, if that site was there, purpose built and bought, why is it taking 5 years to kind of do the deal on that site?
Well, if you go to the history, when Sir John was very much involved in Newcastle and some of his vision, and don't forget he is an entrepreneur in his own way, he bought the site to develop the training ground, but he never ever did it. So he's had that land sitting there for a period of time.
Of course.
So in entrepreneurship, I bet he's made a canny profit on what he purchased for it.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's a brilliant site. It's a perfect site for a training ground because of the close proximity to the airport. If they're bringing in new potential players in, or people are coming into the city, they can go on site. They'll have hotels there, I'm presuming, and everything, so that new players come along and they're all ready and they've got, rooms to stay for themselves, the entourage of people and A, B, C, and D. So I think it's going to be phenomenal for the city. That would really put a new
and the Newcastle United players can get up later from living at Darrasol. They don't have to travel down to Long Ben. So they get up at 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock.
Well, you have a lot of players do live in Jesmond and do live in Gosforth as well. So equally,
allegedly.
No, it's not alleged. It's a fact.
Did you see that one, the Tenali, or the one that's on advertised for £4 million or something?
That's Tenali's house.
Well, I think it's St James's, where they put their players in, but it's got a swimming pool and everything else that goes with it. Super gym. It's on the market for about £4.5 million.
Yeah, well, that's just what it is. That's the kind of luxury that the players want, and deserve for the elite position that they hold in the sport and the level of money that they earn. Obviously, you're not going to earn a couple $100,000 a week and live in the West End.
Well, do you know what? And we're talking football now, Jalf. But one of my next problems is going to be when I'm listening to Newcastle United on the radio. If it's not on Sky, I'm going to struggle to know which is our players, because there's going to be so many different names there that I don't associate with. And I had a guy doing some work here who was a Sunderland supporter, and I told him exactly the same. And he said he's got the same problem. He listens to his team play, but he's not sure who's got the ball.
Well, that's probably speaking in jest a little, but obviously, as soon as they play and the sign, and we're there to know the teams, we're there to back the team, we're there to support.
Oh, absolutely, but it takes time to get used to these new names, doesn't it?
Well, it'll take one or two showings, and then I think people will get to know them, and hopefully they'll make that impression. And once they make an impression, and the media talks about them, we'll easily get to know exactly who they are.
So, as a Newcastle supporter, what's the result on Sunday?
It's a real difficult one. Obviously, we want to stuff Liverpool, but it's easy to say, isn't it? And plus, he's going to be returning as well, and I don't know what emojis they're going to have for Isak. I'm sure it's going to be like his head hang on the cross or something. And
of course it's emotional as well, because it's the first time everybody's got the opportunity to celebrate Kevin Keegan's life.
Yeah, of course. And Kevin Keegan was supposed to be there. It was all earmarked for him to be there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Are you so, Alan? Are you going to the match?
No. I'm more of a television supporter at the moment, but I haven't told you my Kevin Keegan story ever. Can I finish on this one?
Please do. Yeah.
As a young police officer, when Kevin Keegan was here, he had a red Jaguar with a personalised number plate, KK33. So I'm walking down Gosforth High Street in uniform as a young police officer, and he's parked on double yellow lines. And his wife had gone into the bank at Lloyd's, in the corner. And I knocked on the window, and he says, "Officer, I'm very sorry, my wife's just gone to the bank, etc., etc. I won't be long." I said, "Kevin, you can park here as long as you want. Can I have your autograph?"
Brilliant. Abuse of power, isn't it?
It wasn't abuse of power. It was discretionary power.
Oh, brilliant. Well done. That's what leaders do. But I think that's a brilliant story. So he actually got a house built from a friend of mine. Jeff, you remember Tony from Liverpool?
Yeah, of course.
So they built his house in actually that area allegedly
Up
that
north, wasn't it?
all the players live in, is what they did. So it was interesting to see him out and about. I mean, he was a brilliant person.
He's my hero.
Uh, it's
Next time I'll tell you a different Kevin Keane story, but not for the minutes.
um, yes. So coming back up to ABC Awards, yes, hopefully we'll get Harry and Meghan there.
Is it still the 11th of the 11th?
It is the 11th of the 11th, and the the nominations are still open. We are encouraging as many nominations as ever. We're delighted to have such a broad selection of supporters, including Mayor Kim McGuinness and the North East Strategic Mayoral Authority, Shine, which is the Employee Recognition Scheme, SAPIO, Chadwick Lawrence, SME, Centre of Excellence, a whole host of others, including Together Finance. And the reason why I'm mentioning some of them is because we've got a really broad selection of national organisations, rather than just purely northeast orientated, which is brilliant. And it's our regular supporter, Gosforth Park Hotel. Again, it's always a great location, and we're ever so delighted. And Sandeep and Spice FM, will continue to be our media partners alongside Northern Insight, where there'll be a huge feature as always. So please, 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 can we encourage everyone, given the fact that we've been talking about entrepreneurship, celebrating, recognizing people, and providing a positive platform to celebrate as many people across the public, private, and third sectors. Please, 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 can I encourage everyone and anyone to nominate? There must be someone out there that needs recognised for all of the work that they do behind the scenes, the relationships they have as well. Coming up to the end of the show, Jalf,
Yes.
you didn't answer the prediction for Sunday.
I think we win.
Yeah,
You love
Alan,
it.
Got to win, man. We got to win.
I think I would take a point.
Yeah, let's see. We got to be
my
positive.
my son being a red
Oh, yes.
is a ball boy as well. So
Oh,
We're ball
very
boy.
interesting though when Yusuf's
uh,
he's gonna have a black and white top on, I'm presuming, is he? And
he
he's
is
gonna be red inside.
obviously. Yeah.
I was going to say we don't want him on a
Traitor.
red. We don't want him on a
Traitor.
Liverpool top being a ball boy.
Well,
That would have been funny.
that would
Yeah.
be
On the hour, every hour, from the heart of the
We'll be
community
back next
to the
week.
pulse of the world. Spice
Cheers.
Radio News.
The Prime Minister says Harry and Meghan's security is a private matter for them when they move back to the UK later this month. It's been